On Travel Channel's Mountain Monsters, the Ames team heads back into West Virginia's Tygart Valley on the hunt for Bigfoot. And from the very first minutes, something out there is throwing its weight around. They stumble on a pile of smashed oyster mushrooms, crumbled and eaten right off a log. The guys joke that it looks like a Bigfoot snack, but it's the first hint that something big has been feeding here. They push on toward a target log, knowing something was there the night before.
Oh. What do we got here?
Look here, boys, look here. Something's being too disturbed and busted up. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Good eye, Willie.
Is that mushrooms?
My God, look at
By
this.
God, it is.
Look at this.
Some oyster mushrooms. Boy, that's a good eye tip, bro. By God, if I was guessing, I'd bet they was a Bigfoot had him a mushroom stack right here. Huh?
Yeah.
We just come up on some mushrooms that's been all crumbled up and eaten.
Something explodes out of the brush near the log. Heavy movement, branches snapping, whatever it is blasting out of cover before anyone gets a clear look. When the team checks the spot, they're stunned to find a thick winch cable wrapped around a massive log, the steel buried deep in the bark. Following the line out, they find it snapped and frayed, like something yanked it until it broke. The kind of cable you'd see on a large dozer, and it would take tons of pressure to tear it apart. Huckleberry suddenly locks up, staring into the timber. He says something huge is stalking them about 40 yards out, just watching.
We got a cable laying right here.
Look back here, Willie. The thing's connected around this thing.
That has been there for a while. Me and Wild Bill just made it to the end of that log, and there's a big cable cinched up around the top of it. Got this log all squeezed down, bedded into the bark.
That thing's embedded in there, holy.
We start following the end of that cable out, and right there it was. Something all frayed out and broke off.
Seconds later, something plows through the woods like a elephant, crushing vines and brush. Freshly broken honeysuckle shows a clear path where something massive just bulldozed through, right behind where they'd been standing. A high-pitched scream tears through the valley, followed by a sharp tree knock echoing from the ridge. Cowboy Ken swings the drone, and on camera, a full tree suddenly crashes to the ground out in the distance.
They're territorial as hell. By God, they don't play around.
All right, stay in here with us, Ken.
I wish I had my weapon with me.
Yeah.
Look here.
Look here, look here,
What
look
do you
here.
got? What do you got?
What do you got, Buck?
Look at this, guys. Get the hell up here.
Daggone.
Look at this.
Look at this.
My gosh. I spot that tree right up ahead. I hurry up and get up there. And man, this thing is tore all to shreds.
Look at that.
Oh,
The team becomes convinced Bigfoot tore it over, a warning or a response to the drone buzzing overhead. Later, they reach what might be the most shocking discovery of the night, a 15 to 16 foot Bigfoot nest woven from pine limbs. Thermal shows a figure inside, apparently injured, dragging a leg as it moves along the creek before returning to the structure. And when producers review Cowboy Ken's drone footage, they spot a tall figure walking upright near an isolated shack marked with Trapper's Pathfinder symbol.
Stay ready, stay ready. Check if that thermal moving.
Man, he's hitting everything up through there. He sounds like a deer crashing when it's on its way to die. Yeah, it's exactly like that.
There's something wrong with this Bigfoot. It's stumbling around. It sounds like it's dragging its leg. Something's not right.
Oh, I got him. You got him? Yeah. He's in the nest. Man.
A clue tied to an older mystery in the valley. Feeding sign, raw strength, a massive nest, and a wounded figure caught on both thermal and drone footage. So what do you think? Dramatic television? Or did the Ames team really cross paths with a territorial Bigfoot deep in Tygart Valley? It is Christmas 2014, northern Minnesota. Snow blankets the yard, lights glow on the tree, and the family enjoys a cozy holiday scene. As the camera pans the window, a large, dark figure moves quickly past the tree line. Tall, upright, walking through the woods near the house, curiosity replaces holiday calm. The creature circles the property. The cameraman steps outside, trying to see it closer. Heavy footsteps crunch in the snow, moving steadily on two legs.
Say Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Got a tree.
What was that?
Oh my God. Did you see that?
Something's behind the garage.
The family dog, Riff, charges, barking, but retreats inside, clearly frightened. The footsteps keep moving around the house. The family hears branches shifting and snow compressing under the creature's weight. Tension builds as everyone watches the tree line, hearts pounding with every snap and rustle. Then a loud branch cracks sharply in the open clearing, closer than before, suggesting the creature is about to step fully into view. But it never does. The tall figure remains in the shadows, just beyond the lights, its movements deliberate yet elusive. After a final rustle through the trees, all sounds suddenly stop.
Oh my God.
Where's it at?
Go get in the woods.
Oh.
Oh, here goes.
Oh no.
We're real scared of them. Rap.
The footsteps fade, leaving a heavy silence in the snowy yard. Slowly, the family realizes the visitor has left the property, vanishing as quietly as it arrived. Relief mixes with disbelief. They had witnessed something truly extraordinary. The dog stays indoors, trembling slightly, refusing to venture out again. The Christmas tree lights glow softly, but the mood has changed. The cozy holiday warmth now carries a hint of awe and unease.
I hear something though. I still hear it. Do you guys hear it?
What began as a peaceful family evening transformed into a real-life encounter with the unknown. In just a few minutes, a large, bipedal figure made its presence known, moving with stealth and grace, circling the house and then disappearing into the forest.
Rip, stay here. Rip.
It's gonna come out in the clearing.
There it is, right over there.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We better get back inside, guys.
The camera captures the chaos, gasps, and the dog's retreat, but even in those brief clips, the figure's movements are unmistakable. Christmas 2014 will forever be remembered as the night Bigfoot walked among them, leaving questions that no one in the family will ever forget. Deep in the midnight forest, survivalist Russell Acree turns from hunter to hunted. Armed with night vision and guts, he's searching for signs of the elusive giant. Thermal blips, snapped twigs, anything that screams Sasquatch.
Something in a tree. It sounded like something either hit the tree above me or something from the tree dropped. Could mean several things, either a branch breaking off or something could have got thrown at us. So far, I've not seen anything on this thermal. That was Rapisat. That was.
But tonight, the woods flip the script. For years, something has been stalking him, and tonight, it's back. The first hint comes as heavy, deliberate footsteps echo through the underbrush. Not a deer, not a bear. Upright, human-like, mirroring his every move, Russell freezes, flashlight slicing through the darkness, ears straining. His team on the other end tenses, scopes ready, but the audio crackles.
Okay. Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Hold up. You hear it? There's something back there. And it is following us. Isaac, are you smelling that? Yeah. This is not a good position.
Whatever is out there isn't fleeing, it's tracking him. He moves toward a slow creek, cutting the trail like a natural moat. The steps follow, rustling leaves, relentless and rhythmic. Silence drops as he reaches the water's edge. Then, a snap of branches across the creek. The forest is alive, watching, testing him. Heart hammering, Russell scans with thermal gear. Nothing.
What? What might the... There's something out here, man. Just stay real close to me. Did you see that?
The footfalls resume, faint now, almost mocking. Signal from his team fades to static. Curiosity, territory, or a deliberate warning. Russell presses forward, but he's no longer leading. He's part of the game. Then total silence, until a high-pitched scream shreds the night. Was it a woman? Or something else entirely?
Don't rush, don't look like you're afraid. You walk backwards? Walk backwards, just do it slow, take your time.
The camera dies. Russell is blind in the dark, every shadow now a threat. Each step he hears, each crack of a branch, reminds him. The forest is alive, aware, always one step ahead. Russell's tale hits like a real-time horror story. No stage scares, no dramatization. One bipedal beat at a time, the hunt becomes the echo. And you're left asking, in these woods, are you ever truly alone? The crew from D-Max UK headed into the Canadian backcountry expecting at least one good lead. A call, a heat signature, a set of tracks. Instead, everything went quiet in a way that made even the skeptics uneasy. The first moment of interest hits when the team spots a bright shape in the distance. It flickers like an eye reflecting light. For a second, they think they've got something looking back at them. Then the shape breaks the beam of the flashlight. It blinks, almost like two eyes narrowing. Two investigators swear it changes shape. When they finally get close, the answer disappoints. Just a reflector catching falling snow in a strange way.
I shine.
Tell me where I'm gonna
You're all to the left again. Right there.
So did you see like one? Did you see two?
I thought I just saw it again. Go back to your left. Right in there on that tree. That big tall skinny
That one
tree.
right there?
Yeah, near the bottom. What is that?
Oh, wait.
Maybe that is eyes.
What are you seeing? Tell me.
I mean, there's nothing there though.
Let's go find out.
But the reaction tells the real story. If you've spent enough nights out here, you know when something feels off. Snow doesn't normally mimic blinking. Light doesn't usually split into two. And the forest doesn't go silent without a reason. Minutes pass, then hours. Nothing moves, nothing calls. Not a single animal steps into thermal range. No deer, no coyotes, not even a stray small mammal. The forest isn't quiet, it's empty. For wildlife this active, that shouldn't happen, not all at once. The team keeps pushing deeper, hoping to catch so much as a heat flare. Instead, the weather turns brutal and morale drops. Even Bobo, the one who usually keeps things light, sounds worn down. Nights like this are rare. When experienced trackers stop cracking jokes, it means the silence is getting into their heads. Some say nights like this happen when a large predator moves through an area. Everything else clears out and waits it out. Others think it's just the snow driving everything into shelter. But then there's the third possibility, the one locals whisper about, the one that keeps people returning to these woods in the first place.
Is that a reflector right there?
Yeah.
Okay, because I flew by it. Is that what you saw before?
It looked like that to me.
Yeah, it's gotta be. I mean, it's not moving.
It's a reflector, yeah. The snow made it look like it was moving though.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? It would break your beam of light, and then it looked like it was blinking. And then for a second, it looked like it was two. Ah, the weather is working against us, Bobo. Come on, Candace.
It's disheartening when you're out there in the cold for several hours and you come up with nothing.
Because total silence isn't normal. Not here, not ever. When the forest gives you nothing, is it really because nothing's there? or because something is and everything else already ran? This footage comes from the Travel Channel's hit documentary series Expedition Bigfoot, a groundbreaking investigation where a team of elite researchers use advanced data science and state-of-the-art technology to uncover evidence of North America's most elusive creature. Their mission is simple: to find real proof that Bigfoot exists. But what they captured during this expedition was far beyond what they expected. The episode, titled Massive Footprint Found in Moss, follows the team deep into a region long associated with Bigfoot sightings. After speaking with a former police officer who witnessed a massive figure cross the road in front of him, Bryce, one of the lead investigators, decided to take a late-night drive through that same area. His goal was clear: to see the creature with his own eyes.
Cars on the road, it's the middle of the night. Even if I don't see something crossing the road, one of these cameras will pick it up, and I'll be able to take it back to the command center later on and analyze the footage. So if anything crosses the road, we're gonna get it on camera. I'm ready.
You getting something?
Inside his vehicle, Bryce had turned his car into a mobile surveillance unit. 8 infrared cameras covered every angle, front, back, and both sides, creating a full 360-degree watch over the road. It was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes every sound feel louder. Hours passed. Then, movement. A tall, dark figure crossed the road just ahead. It was quick, almost too quick, but Bryce knew what he saw. The cameras caught it, and the footage would later send shockwaves through the research team. Meanwhile, miles away, Ronnie and Mireya were following their own trail. The team had separated to cover more ground after strange activity had been detected near a creek bed. Mireya was guided by a strong instinct. That sense you can't explain, but can't ignore either. She followed it until she saw something unusual beneath her. There, pressed deep into the moss, was a single footprint, huge, perfectly shaped, and sinking several inches into the soft earth. She called it in immediately. Ronnie rushed to the location, and together they examined what could be the clearest footprint impression ever found during their search.
If he really hadn't been feeling something, and while science is not founded on feelings, I do think that it's really important as a scientist that you follow your instincts. Are you still feeling it?
Yeah, it's like picking up intensity.
It's taking us right through a logging road.
Yeah, logging has a big history with Bigfoot.
For the first time in history, an investigative team used decades of sighting reports and cutting-edge algorithms to determine the best places to encounter Bigfoot. This wasn't guesswork or myth. It was data, science, and determination. Armed with thermal cameras, audio sensors, and night vision tech, they pushed further into the unknown, documenting every sound, every movement, every possible sign of a living, breathing creature.
Did you see it? I mean, like, did you see the movement?
No, or just the sound? Like something sliding.
Which way do you want to go? I mean, what are you feeling?
I don't feel it anymore like that. As intense.
It's like kind of playing a game of hot and cold.
The one thing they're known to do is being tricksters, right?
But it wasn't just about the evidence. It was about what they felt, the undeniable sense that they weren't alone. Bryce's late-night sighting, Mireya's footprint discovery, Ronnie's strange instinct pulling him toward unseen movement in the dark. Each moment felt like the creature was always one step ahead, watching, curious, and maybe even warning them to leave.
Whoa, this looks like a footprint. Hey, Ronnie. I think I'm kneeling over what looks like Betty. I see what looks like a very deep footprint.
Say that again. You found a footprint?
These aren't stories made for television. They're documented encounters, analyzed and recorded by professionals who risked everything to get closer than anyone ever has. And this is just one of 8 times Bigfoot got way too close for comfort. Stay till the end, because the final encounter might just change how you see the legend forever. In a quiet corner of the countryside, a strange piece of footage surfaced on the Travel Channel, showing what many believe to be a lurking Bigfoot caught on camera. At first, the figure stands almost motionless, a tall, dark shape, wider than any human, its outline rough and undefined, as if covered in thick fur or shadow. It stares for an unusually long time, studying the person ahead. There's a sense of focus in the way it stands, patient, aware, intelligent. For several moments, it doesn't move at all. Then, without warning, it slips behind a tree. What makes this footage so striking is how that tree is far too narrow to hide something of that size. The figure should remain visible on either side, but instead, it vanishes. The moment feels impossible. One frame shows it clearly. The next, it's gone. Some describe it as if the creature stepped through a doorway in the air, passing from one place to another in a blink.
We've seen in these videos cloaked figures, dark figures, so maybe these Grim Reaper kind of dark entities are real creatures.
Maybe. But another detail about the capture may indicate something else entirely.
They're getting closer and closer, and next thing, this bloody thing disappears behind the tree.
This kind of movement, sudden disappearance behind trees, has been documented in many alleged Bigfoot encounters. In this footage, the way it fades from view has led many to wonder if this was more than a living animal, perhaps an interdimensional being moving between worlds.
From behind a tree, there was some sort of way it can kind of be half in our world and half in another. It didn't make sense. Like, how come we don't see the rest of that hooded figure behind this skinny trunk?
Good question. And one that brings up the possibility of this being another type of being altogether.
This is a Bigfoot. In my opinion, this is...
The area where this was recorded carries deep history. Ancient ruins, moss-covered stones, and old forests fill the landscape. Places that have inspired centuries of stories about unseen watchers and protective spirits. Many locals describe eerie silences in these woods, moments where the air feels charged, as if something unseen is nearby. Whether this figure was a physical creature or something spiritual, the footage captures the mystery that keeps people searching. It shows why Bigfoot remains one of the world's most enduring enigmas, a being that moves between myth and reality, always watching, always just beyond reach. Each glimpse reminds us that the wilderness still holds secrets, and that sometimes what hides among the trees isn't just an animal, but something far older and far wiser than we imagine.
With Bigfoots peeking behind trees, people seeing them in the shadow-like form.
And given the mythical qualities of this area, perhaps we shouldn't be so surprised.
You could travel from Cork all the way to Donegal. There are hundreds of ruins, castles, old buildings, even more stories to tell. Ghosts, banshees. Halloween originated here. I mean, what more can I say?
Footage courtesy, Animal Planet. Location, Magician USA. Could recent evidence from a hidden trail camera suggest the presence of multiple Sasquatch families in Michigan's Upper Peninsula? The BFRO team heads to Michigan to meet a landowner, Craig Sulk, who claims one of his trail cameras captured something strange lurking deep in the woods.
Hunting guide named Craig Sulk, who owns 80 acres of land up here, puts up trail cameras on his property to monitor the game moving through here. And one of those cameras happened to capture something that Craig can't explain. From what I can tell, it doesn't look like a person in that it all has one uniform tone. So that's either a hunter dressed up to all be one color, or it's a Sasquatch.
Matt examined the photo Craig sent and instantly knew it wasn't ordinary. The image seemed to point towards something big, maybe even proof that more than one family of Sasquatches could be living across Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Cliff Barrickman, a veteran Sasquatch investigator with decades of experience, brought his sharp eye to analyze the mysterious photo. The camera had taken 3 images in under 2 minutes. 2 were empty, but the middle frame revealed a large, upright figure half hidden behind the trees.
The photographs are pretty interesting. A little blob squatchy, but there is clearly something there. Out of the 3 photographs, taken less than 2 minutes apart from one another, in that middle photograph, that large figure is there, but not in the other 2. That means something moved in and moved out of frame in those 3 photographs. The middle photograph is the key. That's the one that might hold the Sasquatch.
It appeared suddenly and vanished just as fast. That single photo stood out, a possible glimpse of something that shouldn't exist. At first glance, the photo seemed unremarkable. A deer stood in the foreground, typical forest life. But behind it, barely visible between the trees, was a dark, towering figure. What looked like a normal wildlife snapshot quickly became something far more mysterious. When the team compared the 3 photos in sequence,
the first thing I thought was, oh, there it is, definitive proof. Deer exist, and so do their butts. But it turns out there was something more interesting in the background. By scrolling through the 3 photographs in sequence, you can clearly see that the middle photograph has something that the other 2 do not. There is a figure there. It is either a human or a Bigfoot, and it's our job to find out which one.
The pattern was undeniable. Only the middle image showed movement. A tall, upright form appeared for a moment, then vanished completely. Whether it was a human or something else was still unknown, but for the team, this was no coincidence. It was a lead worth chasing. When Craig met the BFRO team, he pointed toward the tree where the trail camera was mounted. The camera was facing north, right through this area, he explained, marking the spot where he first noticed the strange movement. That's where it all began. As the field team studied the footage, their attention locked on the middle frame, a humanoid figure standing silently among the trees.
This here's the tree that the camera is on.
And which direction was the camera facing?
It's facing to the north, right through here.
So that's the stump that the deer was smelling?
Yes.
Why was it smelling the stump?
We put minerals out for the deer for, it's better for antler growth, and it's supposed to help the does with their milk production and stuff like that. So we put that out all over the property. We have 10 cameras out usually all year on the 80 acres, and we look at around 20,000 pictures. And in the sequence of the 3 pictures, the middle picture, I just can't explain what is in it. And that's why I was hoping you guys would be able to help me.
It wasn't there before, and it wasn't there after. Whatever it was had moved in and out of sight in seconds. Fast, silent, deliberate. That one frame changed everything. What exactly walked through that shot? And how many more might be watching from the woods? The YouTube channel Animal Planet featured one of Utah's most intriguing encounters, a mysterious video captured by a group of local teenagers near the Wasatch Mountain Range. The footage, filmed late at night beside a campfire, shows what appears to be a large, shadowy figure moving in the background. Some say it was another teen. Others are convinced it was a Sasquatch, a real Bigfoot caught on camera. The team from Finding Bigfoot traveled to the site in Utah's far northeastern corner, where the borders of Idaho and Wyoming meet. According to the teens, they had gathered for fun, playing music and experimenting with a gasoline-filled bottle near a campfire. As the flames roared, one of them started recording. No one noticed anything strange until a YouTube commenter later pointed out the dark figure, tall, broad-shouldered, and walking slowly behind the firelight before disappearing into the darkness.
Some kids were out camping and messing around with a campfire when they recorded it.
Stop, you're leaking out.
In the background, a mysterious figure gets up and walks away. When Bigfoot researchers saw that video come out about a year ago, a lot of people were very suspicious about it, myself included, because you can't see that figure very easily. maybe it was just another kid running in the background. But we took another look because it was gotten in the same canyon that the local BFRO people say the most Bigfoot action happens in.
The Finding Bigfoot team met with one of the boys, Levi, who confirmed that everyone present had been standing on one side of the fire. Whatever walked behind them wasn't part of their group. The canyon, Levi explained, already had a haunted reputation. Locals had heard strange knocks, rock throws, and untraceable screams echoing through the hills. For years, people had whispered that the valley was home to something ancient. Something hidden skeptics on the team wondered if the figure could have been another camper drawn by the light or a friend unknowingly captured in the shot. But the shape, broad, slouched, and clearly walking upright, matched countless eyewitness descriptions of Bigfoot. To find answers, the team recreated the event in daylight using the same type of camera. When compared side by side, the figure's proportions and movement suggested it was indeed a large human-like being, but not one of the teens.
We got a real good idea how big it was.
Okay, over here on the left, we see the video we just filmed with Bobo walking. Here's the original on the right. So it should be standing up here. There it is. And you can see almost the full height of the figure here. And as you can see, the top of what I'm interpreting as the head is a little bit above where this bright tree here bends, which is this tree here. And that's about where Bobo's head is. In fact, Bobo looks a little bit taller.
It looks to me like that's a person.
After doing a recreation using the exact same camcorder, there's no doubt in my mind. That's either one of his friends who didn't know where they were standing, or it's a camper who heard the ruckus, walked 2 minutes up the hill to check it.
Night fell again over the canyon. The team split into two groups. Some headed toward an old quarry rumored to be haunted, while others stayed near the campfire site. The cold mountain air carried faint howls from across the valley. Then came a deeper sound. Not a coyote, not the wind, but something powerful and distant answering their calls. The silence that followed felt heavy, as though the woods were listening back. While exploring a slope nearby, the team discovered a strange structure, a crude shelter made of sticks, built low to the ground, almost like a small hideout. It wasn't polished or permanent, but it looked deliberately shaped. Could it be human? Possibly. Yet its size and location made them wonder if it had served as temporary shelter for something else, something wild and cautious. As the night deepened, one of the researchers decided to stay alone near the structure, setting up camp beneath a juniper tree. He called out into the darkness, mimicking the haunting whoops of Sasquatch. No response came, only the faint rustle of the wind. Later, as he drifted to sleep, he hoped the snoring might lure any nearby creature to investigate.
I heard something. I don't think that's the wind. Those are howls.
Which direction?
It's over there. Let's radio them to see if they heard it as well.
Renee for Bobo?
You call me Renee?
Cliff heard what was kind of a high-pitched howl. He's not sure if it was a coyote or not. Did you guys hear that?
He did too. I faintly heard something coming from down the canyon and up, so to the north and west, but I couldn't make it out. We're right next to a creek.
Yeah, we're hearing things. We're going to definitely head down towards that direction.
Whether that figure captured by Utah's teenagers was truly a Bigfoot remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: this valley holds its mysteries close. Between ghostly legends, strange howls, and unexplained movements in the dark, the Wasatch Range continues to blur the line between myth and reality. And somewhere in those frozen mountains, something might still be watching. Footage courtesy Travel Channel. Location: Forest, USA. What horrors wait in the darkness when a terrifying scream pulls three brothers into a nightmare they can't escape? When three brothers hear a blood-curdling scream in the forest, they venture out to investigate. Deep in the forest, their curiosity turns to terror as they encounter a massive, Bigfoot-like creature.
Ripped apart.
Let's go check it out.
It was extremely loud and terrifying.
But Herman said we can't go into.
Come on, let's go check it out.
But there really was not much of a group discussion. It was more like we were drawn to what had screamed.
Though the eerie sound unsettled them, the brothers resolved to investigate. Whether it was the rush of adrenaline or the sinking feeling of dread from the haunting noise, they cautiously approached the edge of the forest, hearts pounding as the shadows deepened around them.
We need to go home. Just keep together.
As we're walking, we heard a crack.
Stop.
As they walked deeper into the forest, the trees grew thicker and the light began to fade. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed through the woods. Low, distant, and nothing like they had ever heard before. The brothers froze, their breath catching as a chilling realization crept in. They were not alone. One of them whispered, "Stop."
Look.
We looked up, and about 15 feet up, we saw what, at the time, only thing I could compare it to was something from the Planet of the Apes. It was the hairy man. I mean, that's all we knew what to call it, because I had nothing else to compare it to before. I had never heard of Bigfoot. I've never heard of Sasquatch. It was something that was never introduced to us.
They froze in place, a sudden stillness gripping them in silence. Slowly, their eyes drifted upward, and there, roughly 14 to 15 feet above the forest floor, partially hidden among the branches, something loomed. It wasn't moving. It didn't have to. Tall, broad, and covered in thick, matted hair, the figure seemed almost blended with the shadow. Its presence was wrong, ancient, watching, waiting. The brothers could only describe it as a hairy man.
It was squatted down with its left hand holding onto the tree. It didn't have any emotion on its face. It was just a stone look on its face. It just seemed like it was observing us.
What's it doing?
Shh. Be still.
We were terrified, and then when we made eye contact with it,
Though the name felt meaningless against the weight of what stood before them, they had no frame of reference, no myths, no warnings. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, these words had never been part of their world, and yet now, staring into the trees, they knew something impossible was real. And it had found them. Its face showed nothing. No anger, no fear, just a cold, empty stare. It didn't blink or move, yet its dark eyes never left them. The creature watched with quiet patience, as if waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Fear took hold of them.
That's when it made a move. It all came crashing down.
Ah! It's coming!
So as kids, there's no fight or flight, it's just flight. We were terrified. We had to get out of the situation. It was that day that I realized in order to survive with my older brothers, I needed to be a faster runner.
Their eyes met the creature's, cold, still, and filled with something very old. Then, without warning, it moved slowly, like a nightmare waking up, ready to pull them into darkness. Then a whisper broke the silence, trembling with fear. "It's back!" Outside the window, a massive shadow loomed, black and overwhelming, blotting out the glass like a living nightmare.
What are you looking at? It's back!
It was huge. It took up the whole entire window. A man-shaped silhouette. It would have to be upwards to 8.5 to 9 feet.
A towering, twisted figure, human in shape but monstrous in size. At least 8.5, maybe 9 feet tall, an impossible giant watching from the darkness. Will they escape, or is the creature already too close? Do let us know your thoughts in the comments section. The YouTube channel D-Max UK is known for its bold explorations into the unknown. But one discovery stood out, a photograph of a hand that might have belonged to something extraordinary. It began when Bryce received an unusual picture. Someone had found what appeared to be a human-like hand, covered in hair yet ending in claws. Bryce looked closely at the image and said quietly, "I've never heard of Bigfoot having claws, but that certainly looks like a human, hairy hand."
He goes on to say, "I threw it back into the woods, but it wasn't until then that I realized what I may have had in my possession." You know, I've never heard any cases or people describing Bigfoot with claws, but I mean, that certainly looks like a human hairy hand. I think this is worth showing to the team.
He decided to share it with the rest of the team. When they saw the photo, their reactions were a mix of surprise and confusion. But the claws changed everything. Primate hands don't have claws, they have nails. This was something else entirely. Bryce asked his teammate Ronnie if he had ever heard of Bigfoot stories describing claws. Ronnie said that accounts were mixed. Some people claimed Bigfoot's hands looked human, while others swore they had claws for protection or climbing. No one really knew. The mystery deepened, and Bryce decided more research was needed.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah, strange, right?
If you stop short of the claws, it actually looks like a human hand.
Yeah.
But then primates don't have claws, we have fingernails.
I mean, do you think that could be a bear?
Or a wolf or a
raccoon?
coyote.
We're thinking this thing is bigger than what it is. I mean, this could be a raccoon's hand, right?
If you look at the knot
In the
on the
bag.
plastic bag, it gives you a slight reference, so it does look big.
The crew moved into the forest, following a faint trail that looked like something large had passed through recently. As they walked, they looked for signs, footprints, broken branches, or even nests. Researchers believe Bigfoot may build two types of structures: nests made of woven branches and tree formations bent and arranged in strange patterns. These, some say, could be markers or signs of communication.
These are large branches, or sometimes entire trees arranged in unnatural patterns. Oftentimes they appear like teepees, but have been reported to take on a variety of shapes. There are several theories as to what purpose they serve.
When it comes to tree structures, there's some different schools of thought. A lot of researchers, including myself, believe they're a form of communication. These are almost like road signs.
Then came a smell, sharp, musky, like wet fur. One of them whispered, "That's bear." The team froze. They realized they might have wandered too close to a bear den hidden in the rocks. For a moment, the mission shifted from mystery to survival. Still, the question lingered in everyone's mind. What was that hand? Human, animal, or something that lives hidden in the woods, just out of reach, waiting to be found?
As I got closer, that smell got real strong.
Yeah.
We seem to have stumbled upon a bear den on the trail, and it has me on high alert.
I'm waiting for something to pop up right behind those rocks.
We've been at this for hours here.
Yeah.
And this trail seems to go on forever. We are up against an incredibly dense population of black bears here, and we can see that this trail goes on for miles and miles. Why don't we call it a night? It's just too dangerous. Can't keep going.
The team from Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot has traveled to many remote corners of North America, but this time, they chose an unexpected place: Southern California. Just beyond the noise of Los Angeles, deep in the San Bernardino Mountains, people have been reporting strange encounters for years. Bigfoot sightings in a region so close to the city seemed unlikely. Yet, as the team soon discovered, the wild doesn't always hide where you expect it to. Researcher Matt Moneymaker led the investigation, joined by Bobo Fay, Ranai Holland, and Cliff Barackman. Their mission began with a witness, a man named Raymond, who claimed he'd seen a large, hairy creature cross a highway near Big Bear.
Even though we're not that far from LA, this environment is very good for Sasquatches, and Raymond's sighting only supports that.
To most, it would sound impossible. But when Matt left the road and walked down into the valley below, everything changed. The land grew quiet, the air heavier, and the sense of isolation set in. It was the kind of place, he said, where a Sasquatch could thrive, plenty of cover and water, and few humans ever venturing here. As night fell, Matt decided to camp there. The team spread out ready to test the area with vocal calls and sound responses.
Here's where we'll do it from. And it's time to howl again.
On our first night, we didn't hear any coyotes, which was very disheartening because Bigfoots and coyotes often live in the same areas.
The next day brought a new story. A young woman named Honey, who as a child had seen something she couldn't explain while driving with her family near Big Bear Lake. Her father claimed to have seen 4 of them, tall shapes moving under the trees. Honey only saw one, but the image never left her mind. She described it as standing out in the open sunlight, tall and wide, at least 8 feet high. When asked if she thought it could have been a person, she paused, unsure, but leaning toward what her father had always said. It could have been a Sasquatch, she admitted softly.
Boy, this is a long ways from Big Bear Lake.
It is.
This is where it all happened then, I'm assuming. But let me get this straight. Your father actually is the one who initially saw them, is that right?
Yeah, my dad saw 4, but I saw 1 of the 4. Me, my brother, and my father, we were driving. My dad, he suddenly said, "Look over there," and I look over and I'm like, whoa.
Later, Bobo and Rane met another witness, Michael Crawford, who had experienced 2 separate encounters high in the mountains. He described hearing strange howls echoing through the night, then silence, followed by rocks being thrown at his car. When he returned the next evening, it happened again. He felt surrounded, as if something unseen was warning him to leave. Ranae tried to stay skeptical, but even she couldn't deny how unnerving the story sounded. Back in the field, Matt continued exploring the dry slopes, searching for signs near Deep Creek, one of the few places with steady water in those mountains. He believed if Bigfoot lived there, it would stay close to that source. The landscape was harsh, the air dry, and yet the signs of life, bent branches, faint trails, whispered that something larger might be moving through. Even in Southern California, so close to millions of people, there are still corners of wilderness untouched by light. And maybe, just maybe, something ancient still walks there, silent, hidden, watching from the trees. The video comes from ABC News, a journey deep into the swamps of Florida, where 2 men continue their search for something most people have only heard in stories. They're not thrill seekers or adventurers chasing myths for fame. They're believers, men who have walked long enough in silence to know when the woods are listening back. Mark Barton is 63. Chris Connor is 51. Together, they've spent years searching for what they call Florida's skunk ape, a creature said to stand 7 feet tall, covered in thick hair, half man and half ape, with an odor strong enough to give away its presence before it's ever seen. For them, it's more than a hunt. It's a promise to keep searching, no matter how deep the swamp goes.
Hey, get out of my way, I can't film.
It's 10 p.m. in Florida's Green Swamp.
You're at work.
Yeah, I heard that. I thought that was one of you guys.
No, there was something running towards us.
That's 63-year-old Mark Barton and 51-year-old Chris Connor.
The Green Swamp stretches over 100,000 acres, endless palmetto trees, thick vines, and murky water. It's a place where the air feels heavy and still, where every step could disturb something watching just beyond the reeds. For Chris, this place carries old memories. He says he first saw the creature as a child, years ago, when it moved through the brush with long, heavy steps and then vanished into the swamp. The image never left him. For Mark, the search began as a way to heal. When his wife grew ill, he promised her he would find a way to keep going. After she passed, he turned to the wild, to something unknown and mysterious, as a reason to stay moving. That's when he joined Chris, and the two began what became a years-long journey through Florida's wild heart.
This video is, they say, they're jackpot proof. The day they nearly came face to face to it. That black speck right there, they say that's the skunk ape.
There's the eye opening up.
I do see some
right there.
movement.
Looks like some blinking possibly going on. There's the other eye.
It does look like something big and dark and
see it right
hairy.
there?
It's not a hog.
No, it's not a hog.
When people say you're crazy, your answer is
We're going to do our part to be able to show what's really out there.
Together, they formed a quiet brotherhood built on trust, out there, surrounded by snakes, alligators, and the endless hum of insects. They rely on one another. If one stumbles, the other helps him stand. If fear sets in, they share it until it fades. What keeps them going isn't danger. It's faith. Faith that something extraordinary still hides out there. They've seen shapes in the dark, caught movements in the distance, and found large, human-like footprints pressed into wet ground. Sometimes the swamp falls silent, and both men swear they can feel a shift in the air, like something powerful has entered their space.
Are you looking at a footprint, Chris?
Yeah, it's not enough. I'm just saying it looks like there's some characteristics there, with a large toe and another digit and another digit.
It's very small, though.
And so,
see, a hog won't do that. A deer won't do that.
'Cause it looks like the toes are splayed just a little bit, but it's not good enough. But it's just of interest to pay attention to.
It is of interest. I'm just saying, I don't hear birds.
Prejudge you. I
We
mean,
passed an area right up there,
I didn't take
and to me, the atmosphere changed in the woods for me.
Yeah.
If they're in the area.
They've even recorded strange knocking sounds echoing between the trees, a deep, hollow rhythm unlike any animal they know. Skeptics might call it illusion or hope, but to Mark and Chris, it's real. They've spent countless nights listening, waiting, believing that the next step or the next call might bring them face to face with what they've been searching for. The wilderness of Alaska holds more than mountains and mist. It holds questions, quiet, ancient, and unresolved. People have vanished here without a trace, and locals speak of something watching from the dark edges of the forest. Some call this region the Alaska Triangle, a stretch of wild land where mystery lives in the silence. Through this fog and fear, a team from the Travel Channel sets out to find the truth. Their journey isn't about proving legends wrong, but about understanding what drives them. What makes so many witnesses tell the same story, of a creature, half man, half beast, that walks the woods when the world goes still. They travel deep into the abandoned village of Port Chatham, a place almost erased by time. Long ago, families here left suddenly without warning. The reason, according to those who remember, was the Nantinak, the hairy man. Hunters had gone missing, tools were found twisted, bodies torn apart and left near the shore. The fear spread like fire, and soon no one remained.
You're showing me the way, yeah? Because you just pointed it out to me.
After a tense wait in the abandoned cabin, the three hunters decide to go in search of whatever it was they heard moving around outside. And soon, they come across some massive tracks.
Guys.
Decades later, the team steps ashore. They begin searching for signs, tracks, markings, anything unnatural. It doesn't take long. Prints appear in the moss, large, human-like, but spaced too far apart. Something with weight had passed through here recently.
We've got some fresh tracks down here. Looks like a large animal, but they're freshly compacted, so something came through here very recently. Yeah, the grass is compacted. There's been no spring upwards. They're new. Should we follow it?
Absolutely.
What do you say? Let's do it.
Night falls fast in Alaska. Shadows become shapes, and shapes begin to move. The team hears what sounds like breathing, deep, rhythmic, from somewhere just beyond the light. Then, a low growl drifts across the valley. Not a bear, not a moose. Something different, something that feels aware.
And Sasquatches don't do that. What they have is a great big toe, which can even sometimes deviate. This is a beautiful track. I love this track. Also, it seems to be nicely wide at the heel. I like that. That wide heel. In humans, you only get that when you're a few months old. It doesn't last for very long.
They stand still, flashlights trembling, the silence pressing in. A shape moves between the trees. Tall, massive, its outline swallowed by fog, cameras catch only fragments. And then it's gone. The woods fall silent again, as if nothing ever stood there. By morning, they find more evidence: broken branches, heavy impressions in the soil, and a new track near their camp. For them, it isn't proof, but it's something that lingers.
And sure enough, we saw these incredibly large foot tracks all over this area. You could clearly see the toe prints and the heel, and it was shaped just like a human foot, but much larger.
A reminder that mystery still breathes in these forgotten places. For Travel Channel's team, this was never just an expedition. It was a journey into the unknown, into the heart of Alaska's oldest fear. The story of the Nantianak remains unfinished, but perhaps that's what makes it real. In the deep wilds of Alaska, truth moves quietly, and sometimes it walks on two legs. The YouTube channel Mountain Beast Mysteries revisited one of the most debated clips ever recorded in the Redwoods. A creature filmed at extremely close range by a TV production crew in 1995. The footage is messy, chaotic, low light, and shot on a cheap handheld tape camera. But the reaction captured on that tape is why this case refuses to die.
But it's taken me a long time to even bring myself to making videos on the subject of Sasquatch for a few reasons. One, I definitely feel like the field of Bigfoot is kind of stagnant, and I've just been kind of wanting to dive into new ideas and theories as to what could be going on.
The clip begins with their motorhome parked at night. They're partying, filming each other, not hunting anything. Suddenly, their headlights reveal a dark, upright figure standing directly in front of the RV. No hiding in the bushes, no distance to mask details. It just stands there, fully exposed, then walks across the road on two legs and disappears into the tree line, 9 feet away. Not blurry, not distant, right in their headlights. Here's the problem. The people behind the camera were part of a TV crew.
It's crazy. Like, the whole landscape of the world of Bigfoot is so much different, but I am doing my best to step up to the plate and try and get some more videos and content to you guys. It is sad. Obviously, my dad was a big part of this channel, and it even becoming a thing. And I mean, now I guess he probably knows the answers to all these mysteries, which is cool.
That creates the exact bait and switch this channel thrives on. Believers say the reactions sound raw, panicked, confused, just like people who weren't expecting anything. Skeptics argue the opposite. A TV crew already filming an adventure project just happens to capture Bigfoot walking by. Too convenient. Even expert opinions split. Researcher Jeff Meldrum personally visited the site and considered the footage worth investigating.
Talk on the phone, we would just talk about Bigfoot for like hours. You know, I'd always thought, oh, maybe one day we could go to Henry Lake, that lake on Vancouver Island where I shot that first Wildman film. I thought maybe we could go out there one day and film it, and it'd be a really cool thing. But like, that'll never happen now. And a lot of people have passed away in the realm of Sasquatch recently. Jeff Meldrum and
Renee DeHinden dismissed it outright, strictly because it was filmed by professionals. That conflict alone is why the clip survived nearly 3 decades. One detail works strangely in its favor. Hoaxers almost always keep their subject far away to hide seams, masks, or zipper lines. But this figure is right in the headlights, close enough that viewers have argued endlessly about shoulder width, posture, and even whether the creature shows visible male anatomy, something Meldrum hinted at privately, though nothing definitive appears in the clip. If it's a suit, the hoaxer walked directly up to a running motorhome at night, 9 feet from the lens, while half-drunk strangers filmed uncontrollably. That's a bold stunt for 1995. Even today, Mountain Beast Mysteries points out the same impossibility. If this was staged, why film it on a cheap handheld instead of their professional TV camera? Why shoot in a way that exposes the figure instead of hiding it? Why risk walking that close? The more you apply basic logic, the stranger the clip becomes. The last twist: someone claimed to have seen an uncut version of the original tape, one with even more chaos, more screaming, and no sign of planning. That version was never released due to heavy profanity, but if real, it suggests what happened wasn't rehearsed at all. So what did a group of partying TV crew members really catch in their headlights that night? A reckless hoax staged at point-blank range, or the closest accidental Bigfoot footage ever recorded? If you were holding that camera, would you believe what you saw? Or assume you had filmed a costumed stranger 9 feet from your motorhome? Something's still out there, watching from the shadows. These encounters keep surfacing. New sounds, new sightings, new evidence that refuses to fade away. Could it be that we're sharing this world with something we still don't fully understand? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe Bigfoot is real, or just another mystery waiting to be solved?